Test Drive with Graham Fletcher.
We promised you a hot Chevrolet, and this is it. This is the Corvette ZR1, and what differentiates this car from any other Corvette on the road is this. Last season, in testing the Isuzu Impulse, I commented on how I hoped General Motors would take advantage of the engineering excellence they acquired in purchasing Lotus. The ZR1 bears much of the fruit from this acquisition. Under the hood is a true fire-breathing monster. The only thing this engine has in common with the base Vette engine is the displacement. Both happen to be 5.7-litre V8s. At peak RPM, the engine churns out 375 horsepower and 370 pounds-feet of torque. Above the 3,000 RPM, the power comes in progressively and strongly, propelling the car to 100 kilometers an hour in just under 5 seconds. The power is relayed to the ZR1's specially designed 315/35 ZR15 tires through an extremely refined 6-speed transmission. The only annoying trait the transmission has is that under light to moderate acceleration, the transmission actually guides the shifter from first to fourth. While GM suggests this improves fuel economy, from a driver's perspective it's a real pain, forcing you to override it at the most inopportune moments. The driver is truly shoehorned in behind the steering wheel, and so getting in and out requires a lot of practice and patience. However, having negotiated this, the fully articulated seat hugs the driver and provides the support and comfort required when you start to use the car's full potential. The dash is a Mickey Mouse affair that marries digital and analog readouts in a configuration that does neither any favors. The remaining controls fall readily to hand, button after button after button. The ZR1 is definitely not for the meek, so GM might be advised to take a leaf out of the competitor's book and offer an advanced driving course for the purchasers of all ZR1s. Having said that, the ZR1 is surprisingly civilized when driven around town. The ZR1 we tested was a 1990 model. At the time of the test, the only distinguishing features were the squared-off taillights and a tiny ZR1 badge. For whatever reason, all 1991 Vettes will sport the same taillights, leaving the tiny badge the only difference. Having blown the competition away, it might have been nice if they knew what tailpipe they were looking at. I tried the adjustable suspension in all 3 settings during the pylon test. There is a noticeable but not huge difference between the touring, sport and performance modes. I found the middle sport setting to be the best for most driving conditions. It isn't too stiff and you can feel the suspension working, making the car predictable. Having said all of this, there is a fair amount of body flex, especially when the locating bolts for the removable roof come loose. Unfortunately, this occurs on a regular basis. I, for one, would be more than a little hesitant to push the car with the roof removed. The valet key located in the center console is a superb idea. Take the key out and the engine is limited to around 250 horsepower. Pop it in, turn it on and look out. You now have all 375 horses at your beck and call. The key stops over-anxious car jockeys from getting speeding tickets that in Ontario could run you about $1,900. Before the scoreboard, my pet peeve, and on the Vette it's to do with the fact that it doesn't have a locking gas cap. Now, half a pound of sugar in here would do untold damage to the engine, and that on a $75,000 car is just not acceptable. Now to the scoreboard for the final ratings of the ZR1. How much can you say about the ZR1? It is at least as fast, if not faster, than most other exotic cars. If you bite your bottom lip and let it rip, you race through the 100k mark in about 4.5 seconds. 100 miles an hour comes in just under 10 seconds. This is not a car for the meek, or for that matter, a geek. The 3-level suspension setup and mammoth tires give the Vette phenomenal cornering capabilities. One can only say that it would take a driver of extraordinary talent to push the ZR1 anywhere close to its almost 1G limit. Having motivated 3,500 pounds of automobile to speeds verging on those capable of making the car airborne, it is reassuring to know that the powerful anti-lock brake system can haul you to a halt in a hurry. We recorded stopping distances of around 100 feet from 80 kilometers an hour. We recorded noise levels of 74 decibels, most of which was tire noise and gear whine from the 6-speed tranny. Fuel economy? Quite simply, who cares? As long as the figure stays on the miles per gallon side and not the gallons per mile. The ZR1 is as good a sports car as you're going to find anywhere. For the dollar, it represents one heck of a good value if you judge value by speed. If the chassis were the equal of the engine, the ZR1 might actually rate a perfect 10.